Stardiver, released on September 12, 2024, currently sits at a 50% rating on Steam at the time of this review. I finished story mode in 4.5 hours while completing 20 of the 35 achievements. Before we get started, I want to preface this review by saying I received this product for free. I was gifted a Steam key by the developer and I did not purchase this product. Also, this game may not be for anyone with thalassophobia and/or megalophobia. While I am not necessarily afraid of the ocean, the idea of a massive creature out there does make me a little uncomfortable, and there was one giant boss in particular that caused a level of discomfort for me. So, if you do not like the ocean and/or massive creatures, this game may not be for you. With that out of the way, let's start the review. The game starts off by having you wake up on a spaceship that doubles as a submarine and being talked to by an artificial intelligence on board the ship. The AI informs you that you have been in cryosleep for the past year and that you have landed on an alien planet to find out what happened to the previous astronauts. From there, you explore this ocean looking for clues and evidence about what happened to your predecessors, all while being accompanied by the AI, who both guides the story along as well as acts as your helping hand, guiding you through the tutorial and missions. The first thing you'll notice upon starting the game are the controls. While in open water, the ship handles nicely, but when you're in tight spaces or when you get caught in a current underwater, the game doesn't cut you much slack. Bumping into walls with your ship won't cause too much damage so long as you are not going too fast, but getting caught in one of the underwater currents can easily set you back 30 seconds to a minute. This isn't a lot of lost time, but when you're on your way to a marker location and you are immediately spun around and flying somewhere at a high rate of speed, it is jarring and disorienting. On top of that, if you get caught in a current, it is difficult to break free due to how strong it is. On occasion, I would be completely flung out of an area and I don't think I was even in a current. Next, the boost meter is not only capped and limited, but the recharge rate leaves a lot to be desired. Your ship traverses the ocean slowly and turbo will become your best friend. The unfortunate part is that the top half of your turbo meter has a one and done use, while the bottom will recharge over time. However, the time it takes to recharge is quite slow. You can craft turbo canisters that you can use to recharge in the item menu, but there is no way to upgrade your turbo. Not to mention, why does only half of my boost recharge? Why not all of it? In the later game, you can purchase a couple different ships using resources you can mine, but as for the turbo, there is not an available option to upgrade that by itself. Other little issues, such as how slow it feels to mine resources, how the quests feel like busy work, how a quest bugged out and I had to reload a previous save, or how sometimes I was required to go scan an item but there was no marker on my minimap. My last biggest complaint is dying to the final boss. When I loaded up my previous save to fight the boss again, I was taken to an area not just before the final boss, but the boss before that. While it was only a 5 to 10 minute hindrance, the fact that the autosave feature did not take me back to just before the final boss was quite annoying, and I did choose to turn the game off at this point and walk away. To give credit where credit is due, however, the game does offer a variety of camera angles, one of which being inside the cockpit of the ship, which is a nice touch. With the bad out of the way, I do want to talk about the combat. The combat feels extremely solid, and I think it deserves its own category away from the gameplay. The combat is your traditional aerial dogfights, just underwater. If you've played any game with this, you'll know exactly what to expect. You start off with a primary machine gun with unlimited ammo and a heavy attack that shoots individual missiles that require a little bit of time to recharge. Later in the game, you can purchase upgrades that give you weapons that shoot faster, do more damage, recharge faster, etc. My only complaint with the combat is that there wasn't enough of it. There was plenty, sure, but compared to the number of quests I had that required me to fly somewhere and scan some items, I just wish there was more of it and more enemy variety as well. Moving on to the user interface, it needs some work. While it gets the job done, it is not very appealing, nor does it seem optimized. Some menus are straightforward where I would click an option that would then open a new window with more options. There were some instances where I would press escape to go back, but instead I'd be prompted to quit the game. A button such as escape should just be back, not quit. Or another example is an indication on the far left to press F to interact with something. While I am glad they show an indication on the right side of the screen, maybe it should be a bit flashier. Put it in the middle, put it inside a black bar so it stands out, or something. The menus could also just look a little prettier as well. Like I said, the menus get the job done, but they don't necessarily pop. A menu that pops is an overlooked attribute that many developers put on a back burner. On top of that, I had issues in the beginning with my screen resolution. I set my resolution as 2560 by 1440 as that is what my monitor is, but it put black bars on the side of my screen almost as if I was watching a TikTok or a YouTube short. Ultimately, I set the resolution at 1920 by 1200 and the problem was fixed. As for the graphics, while they aren't perfect, they are still good. I am not sure if this is a team or a single developer, but it is the company's very first game, and they deserve kudos for how great it looks. While it is easy to nitpick little areas where textures are not touching, from a distance the ocean looks incredible. Overall, the game looks fantastic, and the graphics and art design are its biggest strengths. As for the price tag, it is sitting at a steep $15 US. While there are multiple difficulty options, I don't feel any desire to replay this game on the various difficulties. That is not to say it isn't worth replaying, I just don't replay most games unless there are vastly different endings or special rewards for playing it on harder difficulties. I only played story mode, which is the easiest setting, and I got just under 5 hours out of it. If you purchase this game, really enjoy it, and want to replay it on the harder difficulties, then you'll of course spend more than 5 hours on it, but if you purchase it for a one and done experience, $15 is just a bit high for the time and experience you will get out of it. With all of that said, I give this game a rating of 6 out of 10 sausages. In an age of the birth of artificial intelligence and a space race of billionaires, the idea of an astronaut spending a year in cryosleep just to be woken up by an AI on an alien planet in search of its predecessors is a fantastic story and is one of the game's biggest strengths. The gameplay needs a lot of work, but it is work that I think would be relatively easy and would make the game much more enjoyable. Fix the ship going haywire and flying off in random directions, make mining resources much faster, and introduce an upgrade mechanic, especially for boost. Combat is another strength of this game. My only complaint is that there wasn't enough of it, and I wish there was a little more enemy variety as well. The UI needs some TLC. The menus could potentially be optimized a little better, as well as making them pop a little more. My biggest frustration was the resolution issue, though I found a solution on my end. However, that doesn't mean the developer shouldn't also put in work to fix this as well. The price is a bit steep, sitting at $15 US, so my recommendation is waiting and picking this game up on sale. And that's my review of Stardiver. Keep in mind that I am reviewing this game less than a month after its release. The developer may introduce some changes in the future as they have already put out patch 1.1, so some of these critiques could have already been addressed depending on when you watch this video. If you enjoyed my video, consider liking and subscribing, but if not, just know that I appreciate your viewership nonetheless. If you end up purchasing this game, leave a comment below about your experience. I would enjoy hearing what you think. I also stream on Twitch occasionally, so consider following me on that platform as well. Anyway, I think I'm going to cut my review here. Mahoney out.